Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Shooting It Raw. The news I've been seeing around this week has been kind of bonkers, and it's specifically around Paul Watson and his involvement with Sea Shepherd. And it's just crazy to me the way there's this organizational drift. So Paul Watson, to me, is one of these heroes of conservation, a personal hero of mine for sure. You know, he helped co-found Greenpeace. He founded Sea Shepherd. He's been an incredibly important voice and presence in marine conservation, which to me is important. So look, back in 2020, I had the supreme privilege of speaking with Paul. It was such a treat. It was such an honor. And yeah, so please listen to this one. Share it if you can. Get people to subscribe to the podcast because, you know, the more people subscribe, the more people hear the episodes, and the happier we'll be. Okay, thanks.
For 45 years, I've always maintained that the most powerful weapon on the planet is the camera. And that's why documentation has been a very, very important part of all of Sea Shepherd's work. You know, if it's not on camera, it didn't happen. It's the camera provides evidence. It is educational, and it's also our means of self-defense. So photography is probably the most important tool in our efforts to protect the ocean.
Captain Paul Watson, thank you for joining me on Shooting It Raw. It's such an honor, and you will find out through the conversation where your influence has pushed me in my own direction, but this isn't really about me. It's about me opening doors and letting you speak and you telling your story. And what we do is we start off with photographs that you've sent over, and then we go from there. So let's just dive in. In the first photo I have, it's with your hands crossed. You're wearing a Sea Shepherd jacket with it's like a windbreaker jacket. Underneath, you're wearing a black, it could be a sweatshirt or a t-shirt, and behind you is a white background. You've got your shock of white hair. You're looking straight on into the camera. This is just a pretty no-nonsense portrait. There's just a hint of your right eyebrow kind of raised a little bit, and is it adversarial? Maybe it's adversarial. But you're kind of challenging the viewer, and you've got the logo of Sea Shepherd on your jacket. And I mean, I know who you are. I have followed you. I've been inspired by your work for all my life. And so how would you like to frame this conversation, starting with that image where you're just looking dead on at the viewer in this portrait?
I believe that photograph was taken as a promotional photo for Animal Planet's Whale Wars. And so it was a photographer that came to Australia to do that. And yes, what we're saying here really is speaking to the Japanese whalers that we're going to stand firm and steadfast in our efforts to shut down their illegal operations in the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. So for example, on that campaign, right, we've talked about, or you've mentioned the power of photography. That show obviously, really brought the message. Already you had a worldwide following, but that show really seemed to break it into people's consciousness even more. So in the pose of the photograph, was that from the Animal Planet or the producer who said, this is kind of what we're imagining how you're going to come off in this portrait? We're facing you. You have to deal with us. we're not going away. So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.